Welcome back to our international news. Speaking to journalists abroad, the Papa plane, the Pope Leon XIV condemned global conflict. News in detail.
Speaking to journalists abroad, the Papal Pontificate issued searing condemnation of global conflict, specifically addressing the rising tension in Iran and Lebanon. His message was clear: he is a pastor, not a politician. As a pastor, he says he cannot be a favor of war when the cause of measured in the lives of children. The Pope began by reflecting on his time in 4 African nations, including his final stop, Equatorial Guinea. He pushed back against those who view his travels through a purely political lens. To him, this wasn't about judging government, but about working with the people and announcing the gospel in their moments of their joy and suffering. The most poignant moment came when the Pope was asked about the chaos surrounding negotiation with Iran and threats of nuclear escalations. He spoke of a photo he carries, a Muslim child from Lebanon, who welcomed him with a sign "only be killed later." In the conflict, he urged a shift away from violence, attacks toward a culture of peace, and returned international law on migration. With a trip to Spain on the horizon, the Pope turned his attention to the migration crisis. He challenged the global north, asking why wealth nations and multinations are not doing more than to create opportunities in the global south. Why acknowledge a state's right to deregulate its borders? His moral bottom line was firm: migrants are human beings, and they must be treated with the dignity that belongs to every human being. Addressing internal church tension, specifically the move by some German bishop to bless same-sex couples, the Pope called for unity while echoing the famous "everyone is welcome." He cautioned against formalized blessing that could cause further disunity, insisting the church's focus should remain on justice, equality, and Jesus Christ. The pontiff ended with a blunt condemnation of recent wave of execution in Iran. The takeaway: I condemn the taking of people's lives. I condemn capital punishment. Human life must be protected from consumption to natural death.
In Middle East, Israel and Lebanon ceasefire extended by 3 weeks, as said by United States President Donald Trump. Global oil prices were above $100 a barrel for the third day, as the President Donald Trump again refused to give timeline for resolving the war with Iran-Lebanon ceasefire. A fragile truce in Lebanon has been extended by 3 weeks after Israel and Lebanese representatives met at the White House. The conflict between Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah is among the key sticking points in U.S. and Iran peace efforts. President Donald Trump again refused to give timeline for resolving the Iran war, telling reporters don't rush him. He blamed what described as the lack of the clear leadership for stalled talks, saying the United States of America does not know the leader is in Iran. As the pressure grows from the global economic impacts, Maritime Stanford U.S. military officials are developing new plans to target Iran's capabilities in the Strait of Hormuz if the Iran ceasefire falls apart. United States of America's President Donald Trump says the Israel and Lebanon ceasefire will be extended for 3 weeks after talks at the White House. The Israel Defense Force IDF and Hezbollah have accused each other of ceasefire violations. IDF says it killed 3 Hezbollah terrorists overnight, while Hezbollah says it fired a rocket at northern Israel. One of the key obstacles to a permanent deal between Lebanon and Israel is decision about Hezbollah's arsenal. The Iran-backed militant group has so far refused to discuss the future of the weapons, right Hugo Back. Thank you very much for being with us in News Tonight, but before we leave, let's go back